Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why getting back with your ex isn't always the goal.
We're talking a lot about goals during this World Cup series. I even wore my ref shirt today.
Different kind of goal.
Yeah,
but
different kind of goal.
For this goal, I want my ex back. I know what that feels like. I know how it consumes you. And every situation is different. And that's what's so hard for many of you out there is when you see comments from people on the videos, their situations are often extremely different than yours. And I know because I know some of the people that are leaving the comments. I know who those, because you guys will tell me on the call, oh, that's my account. And so I'll see people that have very different breakups giving advice or talking about certain things on there. And you got to be careful with those things, okay? So just be careful because you have to think about yourself and what is best for your life. And sometimes you're with an ex that is toxic or isn't going to be a good fit for you in the long run. And that's something that you've got to figure out slowly for yourself. You don't want anybody to tell you that.
No. And I'll even reframe about why getting back together is not always the goal, even if they were a good match for you. And even if things were quote unquote good, is that getting back together without that kind of change or without acknowledging the reasons for the breakup means walking right back into the same patterns. So maybe it wasn't a super duper toxic relationship that you can never look back on, but maybe there was just enough to cause a breakup that needs attention. And if nothing was resolved, that same conflict is going to resurface just with more history now and more hurt because now a breakup has happened. And that's hard to work past and it's hard to work through.
Yeah, it's hard enough to make a relationship work when there isn't that level of hurt or pain or anger or resentment. But now you put that in the mix and repairing it is not as easy as it was when you first meet somebody and you don't have all those issues together.
Right. And I often ask people, if you had the ability to get back with your ex tomorrow, would you? And so many of you quickly are like, honestly, yeah, I would fold like a lawn chair. I would be there. I would be showing up. And I completely understand that. And many of you aren't nearly ready for that. You might think you're ready. You might want to jump back in. You might understand or be cognizant of what went wrong. But are you really ready to handle what those situations will look like now again a second time when your ex is probably hypersensitive to the mistakes or the issues of the relationship, and now when you know that your ex is capable of ending it? So are you really ready? And many of you are just now starting to realize what happened, much less really working on the skills day in and day out to be self-reflective, to show up differently in your relationship. So the goal for many of you is regulating from the breakup first. Wow, a huge disruption has happened in my life. Then working towards the issues that caused the relationship to dissolve in the first place.
And that's why we're always telling you got to work on personal growth in no contact. And the people that are really focused on, like the Be a Master in Relationships playlist, or the Understanding Attachment Styles playlist, or, even doing the workbooks and the course, their focus is on something healthy and navigating in a healthy way, as opposed to being consumed with where your ex is at and what they're doing, because that never helps you. Because it ultimately, if they've logged on or posted 50 times or not posted 50 times or they posted once or have all those things that your ex does that you get consumed with, doesn't really change how the relationship needs to be when they come back. And you really have to think about that. Like, what is it that you're wanting besides just getting them back? Because your issues are going to multiply since the breakup has happened because of all the hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And the anger and the sadness. And yeah, the idea of like, it's kind of like when you get into a relationship before the breakup, you feel like you're in this safety bubble. And when they break up with you, it's like it's popped and it can be repaired. But in a way, it's kind of like you don't forget about it. You don't forget that they were able to leave, that they were able to walk away at some point, even if they had very valid reasons. It's kind of like it's like a bit of a fairy tale. And then when the reality of this painful breakup happens, it kind of lasts and sits with you in your unconscious that they could walk away. But the reality is anybody could walk away from a relationship for any reason. So try not to think about that too much when you're in the repair. You want to focus on what you're trying to create with them.
And you also have to consider, just with what you were saying about that safety bubble, some of you might be in denial with what's happening in the relationship towards the end of it. And so when that bubble pops and you're kind of forced to face reality, you realize that you're missing that comfort of the bubble and maybe not necessarily what the relationship actually was. And this might be hard to hear because many of you are saying, no, of course I miss my ex. But we want you to take a look at the relationship as a whole, as how the relationship impacted you and what that really was. You really got to ask yourself, do I want them back or do I want to feel okay? Do I really want to get back together tomorrow, or do I really just want to be able to have some relief from this heartbreak? And that's a really difficult question to ask. It might be easy to answer at face value. Yes, I want them back. But we want you to really think about that and consider that for yourself. And sometimes healing from the breakup doesn't always mean getting back together, but it can mean becoming healthier first and really focusing on your own healing first, that being the number one goal and the priority before even thinking about getting back together.
Yeah. We can get so caught up with missing our life with them and just being used to that person, just being used to having this person in your life, that the routine is completely disrupted. And the idea of being with this one person, and they chose to be with you and you chose to be with them. We can get consumed with all these components of our life, but not see that the person is healthy for us and that the connection was good for us. And so we could be afraid to be alone, and because of our attachment issues, scared to be alone, and so we're with them or wanting to get back with them for the wrong reasons. Reasons that will cause another breakup.
Oh yeah, and I want to be clear because there are a lot of misconceptions about what we do here. I know we've made other videos about false hope and things like that. A lot of people think that we're pushing this kind of agenda of get back with your ex and that's the be-all solution, but that's not the case. When we talk to clients, we factor in your well-being. That's part of what we do here, is to not do harm. And when we hear situations that are concerning, it is part of our duty, granted that it's not counseling, but it's part of our duty as coaches to have your best interest at heart. And we will give you our 2 cents on your situation. Sometimes it's difficult because we're breakup coaches, many of you have an agenda talking to us, which, we're here to help in any way that we can. But we also will be honest with you about situations that we see are damaging to you.
Yep.
So I wanted to share that because, I know a lot of our videos are very focused on getting back together, but we also coach many people on moving and healing through a breakup in general. So
absolutely. Just talking about it, you're going to feel so much better. I know I was always so relieved when I knew I had an appointment with Margaret coming up. I could talk to her about everything that's going on. It just calmed me down so much. And you're going to find that even when you have a call scheduled with us, you're going to feel so much better knowing that you're talking to somebody that deals with this every day and navigating what you're going to do. Because you don't have to figure out if you're going to get back with your ex overnight, right? You don't have to make a decision like, I'm not going to get back with it. You can take your time to think about the pros and the cons, because there's going to be pros and cons to everybody that you're with. There are going to be qualities that you like and dislike with everybody you're with, pretty much.
Except for me. It's only dislike,
then it's only the
unfortunately.
dislikes. Yeah, I was going to say.
Just kidding.
Long list, very long list. But so when you're factoring that in, just understand that you can slowly get there, but processing is the way to go, right? Putting words to it, talking about it, journaling it, doing the questions in the course, in the workbooks. And that's why we have literally thousands of questions to reflect, to process, to figure out what is it that I want to do here. because you don't even have to know one way or the other. You can be like, I'll repair this if I think it could go this way and we can have these kind of changes.
Right. So we try to give you perspective. We try to ask some questions to give you the insight on how to move next, because we know that these situations are really confusing and really difficult to navigate. So
we want you to ultimately be happy. Many of you will get back with your ex and be happy. Many of you will move forward and hopefully be happy, either being single or with yourself or with somebody else that you meet that is a better match for you in the future. But every situation is so different. And so there's so many different angles and perspectives that we have to cover when we're talking about a topic like this. But you don't have to get back with your ex to be a success story. Okay? There are many of you that I talk to that wind up marrying someone else and you're thrilled and you found somebody that was a much better partner for you. And that is a success story for us. Even if you're single and you just feel better about who you are and how you're showing up in this life and who you are in your relationships with your friends and your family or whatever it may be, or your confidence level or your mental health is better. All of those are wins.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
So not everybody needs to focus on getting their ex back, and you're going to find tremendous value in all of our videos, regardless if you're trying to get an ex back or just get to a healthy place and move on and having healthy relationships with someone else.
Exactly.
So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.